My boy Molly. What's up, boy? We
What's
almost
good,
messed
man?
that up, but it's all good.
I think we did exactly like that on that.
It's cool.
Dude, you look good.
Thank you, man. I'm
Man,
glad to
dude.
see you. You ready for this tour?
I am, man.
It's gonna be amazing.
How was your travels?
Everything was cool, you know, just
Man,
got my
traveling
mask
is
on, doing what I gotta do.
You never know, because that recycled air is kind of scary. It's kind of scary.
On a plane, it's like a 99% HEPA filter. I feel good about it.
What is
I trust the HEPA
filter?
Don't know, but I
But it
trust
worked?
it.
Hallelujah.
It's cool with me. But like, what'd you do all this, you know, all 2020, the pandemic, everything?
Once I got finished
busy?
panicking, because I was locked away.
Really?
Yes, I didn't come out. None of my family did. It was just no movement.
Y'all stole all the toilet paper, didn't you? I knew that
we
was
were
up.
one of those people for sure, like, that was kind of hoarding everything, just preparing for the worst. But it was crazy that we even got to the end of that based on the duration of this plague.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was just being creative, man. I didn't mind, man. I'm kind of an
Man, I
introvert.
saw that though.
That was cool.
I saw light coming out your little hut on the hill, and I'm like, Jonathan is
Still
thriving.
working. Yeah, man, I had a good time. Like, I felt like it was a perfect time for creatives to just try stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever the rules are all jacked up, they don't even count no more.
Yeah.
It's really good time for the innovative and the creative to
Yeah.
just start making up stuff and see what works.
I agree with that. I saw it as like, take music away and do something. So I was just picking up a whole lot of other trades and trying my hands at a whole nother things that weren't melodic or lyrical, and it became pretty fun. And I was able to bring a lot back to music. So
That's what's up, man.
yeah, God is good.
All right, so let me ask you the hard question. After all of this, did you get jabbed or not?
Jabbed?
Jabbed.
I'm guessing that means that I get vaccinated. I did. I
Really?
did. Yes. I
what's
got half, and I get my final shot. I think next week.
That's what's up, man. Well,
Yes.
I got both of mine.
Amen. Touch and agree on that.
Yes, sir.
Ha,
We did
da,
it. We
la,
did
bullshit.
it. And nothing's happening.
Yeah, nothing.
I didn't grow any wings.
Yeah.
I have only 5 toes on both foot. No extra ones.
Sometimes you gotta give it time.
I'm scared. But no, don't worry about it. But seriously, like, I think eventually I had to, I just felt like it was the most responsible thing. We were still traveling. I was still working. I was still doing what I had to do.
Yeah.
And I just felt like it was going to have to happen at some point. You know, we are in front of folks. And honestly, I have some doctor friends. And I'm like, what do y'all think? Be honest with me. You know, some doctors that look like us, by the way. You
They
know what I'm
understand
saying?
our
Like,
struggle.
hey, you know, they know our fears. They know what we going through. So they're going to look extra hard. And I trusted them. They're way more brilliant than me.
Right.
So they eventually got me over the hump. And it didn't go too bad, man. My
Yeah.
arm hurt for a day, and I was a little sleepy for a couple days. But other than that, I was straight.
Yeah, I was kind of right behind you on that, and I'm glad that you're well. You know, with it. Did you have to wait long?
In line?
Yes.
It was kind of a long line. Now you think about it, I think about it, but it was all good.
Yeah, the one that I was in, it was a girl waiting long to get a flu shot. I said, you need to get vaccinated. You need a flu shot? Okay, get that.
But
and
see, all
this.
them people, they comforted me. If
Yeah.
I was there by myself,
It would've been
I wouldn't been
different.
like, oh, so I'm not, okay. But no, it was a whole bunch of folks. I was like, okay, if I'm going down, we all going down.
Okay,
No, I'm
let me
just
remember
playing.
your face. What's your name? Nah, like, it was my family that influenced me without even trying to. My young daughter's going to 3 different schools. There's a high school, there's a middle school, and there's an elementary. So they're connected to just throngs of scenarios of contact, and they're always quarantining. So by the time I was needing to pick them up from school on emergency because, you know, my lady just had a baby, so she can't necessarily travel. I was getting in contact with all the things that was making them have to leave school. And this was a frustrating task because I'm like, God, I don't want to be exposed to this, but through my connection through leadership and fatherhood, I had to volunteer. Multiple cases. And then, okay, wait, now our middle schooler, okay, now a high schooler, oh man, this is ridiculous. Now all of them are sick. We're trying to find out how to quarantine in that way, hoping that it's not COVID with tests, trying to keep the baby separate. It was just chaotic, providing food, people in the room, everybody getting lonely. It completely stripped my family in half. And we were trying to find out what it was, and then I started getting sniffly. and it started to hit me in the throat.
Every snip. Listen, I twisted my ankle once, and I felt like my COVID broke. I was like, everything was COVID. And honestly, I think you can research your way, or you can think your way into action either way.
Yeah.
And so I really think it's really dope that the Ad Council and the COVID Collaborative, that they got us all together to just talk and get some information and figure out, all right, we're gonna do this.
What's going on?
What's going on?
All right, then. Well, let's bring in some of the professionals and just get a higher perspective on all of this. Is Dr. Collier there from the Ad Council?
Sir.
Well,
hey, how's it going, sir?
I'm doing wonderfully. Thank you guys so much for having me on in the Ad Council and the COVID Collaborative. This is such a great opportunity to bring the real information to the individuals that will be watching and listening. Neither of the vaccines that exist, and the ones that are available in the United States, are the Moderna, the Pfizer, and the Johnson & Johnson. None of them contain disease-causing entities, so they cannot make you sick. They cannot give you the COVID or the coronavirus. So COVID-19, the coronavirus, that's one of the things that I hear all the time and have people restate with enthusiasm and authority that none of the vaccines can make you sick. They cannot alter your DNA. They cannot impact you in a negative way. All the vaccines do is turn on the antibody factory in your cells and tell your cells to directly make antibodies that are targeted to the COVID-19 virus. So that is the good thing about that. And once that machinery is turned on, the message to tell the machinery to turn on just dissipates and goes away. So there's no long-lasting effects, no long-term issues as far as your genes, your genetics, or anything that you're going to pass on to any of your prodigy.
Doctor,
so you don't have to worry about it.
I wanna ask a question on that note.
I actually understood all of that.
Yeah, it's very digestible, like pieces of Hershey chocolate broken up.
Yeah. Appreciate
my favorite.
Like M&M's not even with the peanut.
Hershey chocolate.
That was just straight up M&M.
M&M's, you lose them.
As Nestle? I don't know.
Doctor, let's ask about this Delta variant.
Mars.
Okay.
This Delta variant, is it ahead of the vaccine, or is it in line with the vaccine? Will we potentially need to get another boost, or will the 2 shots that you've taken and I'm about to take be enough?
They will be enough, and they continue to be enough. There's really been no clinical evidence that individuals need boosters except under extreme circumstances.
Right.
Those are people that are immune compromised, say individuals that have received solid organ transplants, such as a kidney transplant or a lung transplant or a heart transplant. So they're on immune drugs to stop them from rejecting that organ transplant. Others are people, say, that are suffering from an autoimmune disease like lupus, sickle cell, or even HIV. Those individuals are, for whatever reason, a person is immune compromised, or they did not respond well to the first 2 doses of the vaccines. That's why it's important to get an antibody test to determine how well your body responded as far as mounting of an immune response. So once that's done, you'll find that the vast majority of people will not need and don't need boosters even at this time.
Okay.
Now, there was a lot of pushback from the CDC and from the FDA when the conversation about boosters first presented itself, because there's been no decrease in viability of the vaccines. The vaccines are still working. They are all 3 working quite well against the Delta variant. Now, that may change. It has not changed to date. So there's another variant that's in the pipeline called the MU variant. And that one has, the Delta variant has 4 mutations on it. And they thought that those 4 mutations would make it easier for the vaccines or for it not to respond to the vaccines. And so that's not the case. The vaccines are very, very effective against the Delta variant at this time.
Can I speak to, or can you speak to, is there, you kind of touched on it, but there's any reason that someone should not take the vaccine?
So they did an evaluation on virtually every disease state, including cancers, pregnancy, etc. And they found out there's really, unless a person has a direct allergic response to something that's in the vaccine, and that just doesn't happen, then there's no reason, there's no disease state that would disqualify a person from getting the vaccine.
Right.
So virtually anyone can get it.
Listen, Doc, Tylenol has been around for a long time. Trusted, All good. Robitussin. Been around for a long time. Trusted. No problems.
No problem.
This vaccine, though.
You put that toughen on everything.
This vaccine, though. It's like one day I woke up and we had a full one.
Yeah.
It seemed like it happened so fast. I think a lot of people are a little like, are we sure that y'all had enough time to bake this thing? You know, you can put stuff in the oven, the outside gets nice and baked, but the inside is a little runny. Like, are we sure that we had enough time to like test this thing out, do whatever experiments need to be done, whatever research need to be done? I think the quickness of this one is a little jarring for some people. Like, tell us about that.
Okay, I'm so glad you asked that question because again, let's discuss the mythology that's out there. This vaccine technology has been around for 15 years. The thing is that there was no coronavirus to target it to. It is so customized that we had to wait until there was a disease state to target this technology toward. So once that was done, we were able to actually create the target and very, very effective ones, in less than a year. This is the thing. Most vaccines that were developed previously using old vaccine technology would have an efficacy, or they would be good for about 55-60% of things. And this was thought to be a good response as far as vaccine were concerned.
Now, Molly, I don't know if this was your experience, but like after I got my first shot, and actually the second one too, because there was a lot of rumblings about how that one hurts even more. You know what I'm saying? And so you can ask my mom, you ask my best friend. I called them both. Hey, look, I'm walking back home. Be on the lookout, because I just felt like some side effects were coming. You don't know when they're coming, how long, how bad. I'm just checking my arm, steady checking to see if I can still lift it. Okay, I still got strength. You know, it was crazy. Like, Doc, like how what should we expect when it comes from the side effects? Like, are they gonna be terrible? Does it vary from one person to another? And is there something we can do about it?
Okay, for the vast majority of people, they're going to have minimal side effects. And the side effects are caused by inflammation, and that's the soreness of the arm. They call it COVID arm. And it can be just a little irritating. It can be so sore that you don't want to move your arm. And I've had that happen to patients. I had a family of 5, husband and wife, 3 children, 2 girls, 1 boy. They all got the vaccine at the same time, and the side effects were across the board. The youngest son had no effect whatsoever, did not miss a beat. One of the daughters was fatigued for 1 day. Other than that, continued to go to work, had no issues. The other daughter was laid out for 1 week, so fatigued, so tired, just not feeling well. Neither of the parents, had any substantive or significant side effects. I think after 48 hours, they were all okay. But again, across the board, I've had a few people that did have major side effects, but 90+% of individuals don't have any significant issues with the vaccines.
That's crazy, because it's like, so much about our culture is like about just feeling and trusting or not trusting. And what's weird, and I ain't trying to like actually preach. I'm literally just listening to him preach, and I'm summarizing it, because the vaccine technically is more effective than probably the vaccines that I already have in my body I had to get before I went to 3rd grade. Like, it's just crazy because it doesn't feel like that. The way we are right now, if there were 5 cases out of the 5 million that didn't go well, those are gonna be the ones we hear about, And so it's just a crazy culture of like feeling like maybe things are not as...
We're in a creative space as a culture, and we're gonna have to do things for the first time. It's gonna probably be, everyone's gonna be used to it. It's gonna be natural for the children who are born in this pandemic, but to us who have lived before and have transitioned through old dispensations into this time and into this season, we're on the cutting edge of technology. So we're gonna be able to be healed from things that killed people before easier as the future develops. We're gonna be able to get feel better and things that used to take people out, and I feel that that's one of the benefits of being alive in these times, not one of the horrors. So overall, I think it is summarizing what you were mentioning inside the feeling. I just think that everybody just doesn't know how to feel, and I'm okay with that. It's just time to make a decision. And for the most part, I believe that everyone has said no for reasons. which is understandable. So like I was saying off camera.
Because we said no at some point, you know.
I saw Bishop Jakes
Yeah.
and Devon Franklin talking about it similar to us. I think it was even with the Ad Council as well. And it was helpful to me because I had just recently received a powerful message from Bishop Jakes. And also, as I looked at our tour schedule from when I was home about a month back, there were a couple of venues that I may not be able to go into. Mm-hmm. And just the thought of not being qualified to stand in my own position to be able to do the ministry was like, wow.
A lot of us, particularly as Christians we are so kind of apocalyptic minded. We're so revelations minded that all we could possibly imagine that this is the end of something. Yeah. Well, maybe it's the beginning of something. Like seriously, it's definitely the end of a particular chapter, a particular era. But I don't know that we always allow that it could be the beginning of something kind of cool or dope or something that, I mean, the whole point is to eventually like deal with the problems that we've had.
That make us sick and die.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That kind of hit me in the face. You know, you're a poet. I feel like this whole tour is like a poet and a teacher. You know what I'm saying? So I like things black and white.
Too?
And but you are like, because I mean that's so real, because one thing that has scared a lot of us, not just as African Americans, but as Christian African Americans, is that our mind is so much towards this. See, here's a sign of the end of things.
Yes.
Or the sign of the downfall of things, the sound of a sign of everything falling down, and this is it. I told you. See, now we got a whole nother disease that we have to get vaccinated for. When possibly this new vaccine. The way, Dr. MJ, which is a dope set of initials, by the way. That's GOAT initials. Like perhaps this is the frontier of something that begins to address a lot of other things as well. And
that reminds me, with you taking it, me taking it and getting ready to finish it. I believe Dr. Collier said he did it. Many people here might have. Doctor, do you feel that enough people have taken the vaccine shot to know that it's safe, or is it still in like a start place where we're the ones being experimented on to see if it works or not?
I think enough people have been vaccinated at this point, and enough people know people that have been vaccinated. I work a lot in the entertainment industry with performers, and we have gone from doing COVID tests every day when they're on set for a movie set, doing COVID tests before they could enter an arena, doing COVID tests, say once a week while people are filming various things. So now people are saying, I'm tired of that swab being jabbed in my nose and getting even false positive tests sometimes, or having been diagnosed and then gone through it.
Right.
So now I think people are more accepting just for the, not just, I don't want to say convenience, but I'll say they're more accepting because they see that people that have gotten the vaccine don't have to do that. Right. And they are free to move about. They can do a lot of other things. And once your activities start to be restricted, you see the benefits of vaccination beyond just protecting you from the disease. But I want to travel. I want to go on a flight.
You're spot on, and I won't even lie or hold back, just because it speaks straight to this. As my family, like many others, has recently been struck. My Aunt Monica and my Uncle Tommy, their couple, and my cousin Thomas, who's my age, he's going through it and mourning, along with my cousin Toya. I know last week we lost my Aunt Monica. Neither of them were vaccinated, and it was crazy. I believe she beat the COVID, but the pneumonia that came right after was too much to bear. So there is much loss, and if you're bearing the weight of what you're losing, if it's a little bit of comfort right now, I understand if it's like a religious belief that says you can't do it, but if it's just anything else, it's really saving lives, I would say.
I mean, so like, how would you speak to somebody who, and again, like I'm constantly thinking of this from the position of like church folks, because even when we started talking about having this conversation, I was like, like you have church folks that feel like, Mark 16:18, yes, which is I can drink a deadly thing and it will not kill me. So that gives them a certain level of strength when it comes to this vaccine, just in case this is not what we thought it was or hope it is. You know, it will not kill me. My faith allows me to feel that way. But then you also have another doctrine where it's like, I don't need this vaccine at all. I don't need masks at all because God got me there. And so, you know, to me, I can see a little bit of dissonance there. What do you think about that, Doc?
Well, I know you've heard the parable about the person that's in the flood and they're on the roof and God sends them a rowboat, a speedboat, and a helicopter.
Yeah.
And they ultimately end up drowning because they say, well, I'm not going to get on the boat because God will save me. And then when they get to heaven, they ask God, well, God, why did you forsake me? I had faith in you. And God said, well, I sent you a rowboat. I sent you a motorboat. I sent you a helicopter. So this is the helicopter situation. I do believe. We've had enough members of the clergy that were strong and, anti-mask, anti-vaccine or whatever, that have literally lost their lives, no longer in the pulpit, because of this coronavirus disease. Mm-hmm. And so that should show enough people that, faith in and to itself is not enough. We have to be faithful, we have to be believers, but we also have to take what God has given us. And I do believe that the fact that we were able to come up with a vaccine that works this well in such a short period of time was a godsend. That's nothing but God working there, because the scientists would still be doing it, on the 3 to 5 year vaccine development scale if they were not willing to accept the new technology, and then the new technology worked. There was always a chance that it wouldn't, but it did. They were able to target it.
I think what makes it hard for a Christian to accept it, or even sometimes a Black person to accept it, is that it's given to everybody. So the problem with that helicopter story, that parable, is the reason why maybe she keeps turning these other solutions down is because they're not specific to her enough. They're not like only for the church enough. This is just a helicopter. Everybody gets to fly those. This is just a vaccine. Everybody gets to have those. Like, if it were meant for just God's people, then maybe I would feel a little more confident. It's the fact that it's going to everybody, and I feel like that's what makes people feel like maybe this ain't just God's people's thing. And so, unfortunately, I just feel like there's a uniqueness that people are always expecting, a supernaturalness that everybody's always just God. When you intervene, God, I want you to intervene with a earthquake and like a miracle where my stomach was over here and now it's over here. I just need you to do that, and I wake up and it'll be perfect. And sometimes these solutions that feel way too secular, too normal, too standardized, too government backed, it's like, nah, I can't be God. And sometimes, we don't want to preach, and we don't want to have a whole bunch of reasons for people to poke holes at Bible. But for God so loved the world,
it came to everybody,
that He gave His only begotten Son to the world, not to a particular group of people. And it wore the particular group of people out, that it wasn't just given to them. It made them so mad. Hold on, so everybody gets the Messiah, the Gentiles get him too? Oh no, well, that must not be for us. Yeah. And they actually missed out on him because he was too much of a secular solution.
It was too easy.
I did not mean to preach or anything like that.
But it was really
I just
good,
feel
though.
the Lord.
Oh
Lord. Yeah. Well, listen, you said a word that I don't know if everybody knows, and I'm not sure that I really know what it truly means. What is herd immunity? And what is it actually gonna take for us to get there? And if we get there, do I still have to get a vaccination?
Herd immunity means that we have a substantial enough number of people in the population that are immune to the infection, so that the infection cannot spread because there's no one for it to spread to. That number started off in the 60s and ended up about 85%. If we can get 85% of people either cured from the disease or vaccinated, then we should have herd immunity, which will protect those people that have not been vaccinated from getting infection, because the vaccine literally does not have any host. There are no viable places for the virus to live in those individuals, so it just dies off, and that's the hope that we're having.
What about if my grandma is not one of the fittest? I personally, emotionally, don't want her to have to be one of the ones that get picked off just for me to not, maybe take an extra step.
That's fair.
Exactly. That is why the initial vaccine was available to those individuals 65 or older, or people that had comorbid health issues, which covered the vast majority of them. And that population are getting the vaccine. They are really doing a great job. It's the people under 65, and particularly those people under 30, that we're having problems with. And then, of course, you have the children population that the vaccine wasn't even available for, and still is not available for the age 5 to 12 yet. They're asking for emergency use authorization to do that, but it still hasn't been made available. So right now, it's only going down to 12.
Dr. Collier, I was looking at the statistics, and the highest percentage of those who are resisting are in the Black and African American community. Am I right?
People of color are being disproportionately affected by this disease state, and unfortunately, we're having the poor outcomes because of a variety of different social issues, economic issues. We don't have healthcare available to us. We don't have insurance to go to the doctor. We're predisposed by the things that disproportionately affect Black people, like high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol. So we are the population that is least vaccinated, but we're the ones that are most affected by this disease state. It almost couldn't have been designed any more perfectly than to target people of color. So not just African Americans, but Hispanics, Asians as well. All of those populations are being devastated by this. American Indians, and also East Asian Indians. So this is a problem that we need to clearly recognize that this is disproportionately affecting people of color. And we need to understand that if we don't take charge of our healthcare and decide we're going to make a decision that's going to benefit us and improve our health, then we're going to be the population that's overwhelming the morgues, overwhelming the hospitals, overwhelming the healthcare system, period. That's what you're seeing in the hospitals, people of color. And most importantly, the people that are dying are people of color. So we have an opportunity to impact us by doing those things, wearing masks, using social distancing, washing your hands, of course, using hand sanitizer, but yet the most effective technique, bar none, to protect you from this virus is the vaccination.
There's a word that you said a few phrases back, you said the word decision. And I think that's ultimately what it boils down to.
Yeah, man, I remember we were laughing about, me standing in line for my vaccine. And one thing I noticed is that this line, even though I was in a Black neighborhood, where I live, Bronzeville, Chicago, there were a lot of races there. And so one thing that as Black men that we have to deal with, the trauma from Tuskegee and all that stuff, the trauma of now not feeling like we can trust the government and all the other stuff like that. The feeling sometimes is that the vaccine is targeted at us. But from what he just said, the disease, maybe unintentionally, is targeted at us. Like, that's what's having the big effect on us, not the vaccine.
Agreed.
It's the actual illness. And so, I understand why everybody, like I think maybe Ad Council and COVID collaboration, they wanted us to do it because they know we were not just the most sure from the top, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, get the information, get it from reputable sources, and at the end, seriously, it's up to you.
Decision. Yeah, it's up to you. Thank you so much,
Dr. MJ Collier. I love you so much. Thank you
so very much.
Your energy, all of the information that you brought. Thank you.
Genius.
I have to chew on that. It's enough for us to be able to think for a long time, even though we don't have long to think. Thank you, sir, for your mindset, your information, and your encouragement to get ahead and to beat this thing. So let's do it.
Let's do it.
Well, thank you, Ad Council and COVID Collaborative, for allowing me the opportunity. Thank you, gentlemen. It has been such a great collaboration between us.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Ad Council, COVID Collaborative. Hey, it's Johnny and Molly, and it is on. We just had some COVID talk, huh?
Yes, sir. Now let's make some music.
We pray you enjoyed this production and that you heard something that could help you make a decision, because it surely is up to you.
We were both kind of on the fence about this thing. And so we're definitely not here just to push it. Well, only thing we want to push is some more information.
I'm grateful for everything that we touch, and I pray that y'all were blessed by it. Again, I want to send special love out and appreciation to Ad Council and also to COVID Collaborative. Also, Dr. Collier for that helpful information.
For more information, go to getvaccineanswers.org.